Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have a quarterly report webinar from CleanTech Water this morning with some wonderful news to follow up on the what I think is a very comprehensive quarter of achievements. And the CEO, Mr. Peter Voigt, will be here to walk through those achievements, milestones for the last quarter, and also to look ahead for the growth that CleanTech has. We'll be walking through a presentation here, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. So I'll hand it over to Peter to take it away.
Thank you very much, Peter. So I take it we've thrown the first slide up already, have we, Pete?
Yes.
So g'day everyone, and thanks for joining us live. For those who don't know me, I'm Peter Voigt, CEO of CleanTech Water. So what I'd like to do today is take you through where the business is at, what we've been executing over the last quarter, and just as importantly, where we see our company heading. We're operating in some really active areas at the moment, some very important markets, and in many ways, we're just getting started. So I think we put up the notice a minute ago, the housekeeping notice about the presentation. So hopefully you all got a chance to have a glance at that at least. So let's move on. Let me start with the CEO overview of our December quarter. Okay, so operationally, we've continued to improve receipts, cash and cash equivalents. If we look at that on a quarter-to-quarter basis and compare that back to FY25. During the quarter, we completed a $6 million capital raise and repaid $1 million in the loan facility. And that has really strengthened our balance sheet and gives us the flexibility to execute now at pace. Commercially, securing the $19 million Rio Tinto contract was an important milestone for the company. Our moving bed ion exchange technology, or MBX for short, remains central to our strategy. And we have projects that are continually moving from pilot activity into commercial deployment. And we're seeing our footprint expand quite rapidly, particularly in the European and the Middle Eastern markets. But what really matters here is not just the one quarter. It's really the direction of the travel that's more important. So we go on to the next slide, Pete. Thank you.
Yes.
So when we look across the quarter, what really stands out is the breadth of activity. We've progressed multiple projects at the same time, and they've been across water, resources, lithium, and advanced treatment technologies. This tells us a couple of things. Firstly, the problems we're solving are becoming more urgent across multiple industries. And secondly, CleanTech Water is increasingly being engaged as a partner that can operate across sectors, not just deliver a single solution. So next slide, Pete. So turning to our major water and industrial projects. In Ireland, Enva Phosphix, the phosphate project, has moved now into commissioning. All the major equipment has been delivered. And so over the next couple of months, you'll start to hear us talk about that commissioning phase. In Belgium, we've now completed the phase 1 engineering study for the Nyrstar de Salix sulfate plant, and we're in commercial negotiations on phase 2, and we expect to have some information on that quite soon. In Australia, we've successfully handed over the Cleveland Bay disinfection plant to Townsville City Council. And I guess this is just a reminder that our business is not in the business of just designing. We deliver real assets to our customers. And these projects are also reflecting a broader shift, I think, and that water is no longer just a compliance issue. It's really becoming a license to operate issue. So next slide, Pete. The Rio Tinto lithium project is a really important project for CleanTech Water. The project is to deliver a plant that polishes hardness, which is basically calcium and magnesium, out of the lithium concentrate stream that's made at the Rincon refinery. We're using our MBX technology to do this, and this is a first in the lithium industry. As of today, around 30% of the detailed design has been completed, and that's in line with the agreed project schedule. But what's significant here is not just the project, it's what it represents. Our technology, our engineering, and our delivery capability being trusted at global Tier 1 scale. Once you demonstrate that, it fundamentally changes the conversation everywhere else. Next slide, please. On the resources and critical metals side, a key project for us is the Sunrise Energy Metals System Scandium project. We've secured an engineering contract to update the design and the cost of the ion exchange and refinery. And NBX has been selected as the preferred technology for that scandium recovery. Many of you will probably remember the CleanTech team was involved in the early System journey. That experience really matters. We understand how long these projects take, how they evolve, and what it means to embed technology assets that ultimately matter at a global level. The current valuation of Sunrise is around $1.4 billion, and that's a testament to this approach. And remember, we're seeing MBIX validated also in uranium operations with the successful deployment of the technology at Heathgate. Next slide, please, Ben. And talking about other applications of MBIX, we're operating the Lithium CDLL pilot in the Middle East. We're evaluating the technology's ability to extract lithium from a range of regional brines. At the same time, as I previously indicated, the MBIX is also being used for impurity removal in lithium refining flow sheets. So we're really moving towards a more integrated extraction to refinery solution, and that really is playing into our strengths. It's early days, but this is a clear direction for where we're heading in the future in this area. Again, ATA tailings dewatering is another area where the timing is right. We've now piloted ATA across a range of tailing types, including gold, base metals, mineral sands, and phosphate, and the technology is achieving moisture levels low enough for direct filtered stacking. The management of tailings storage facilities is one of the biggest unresolved issues in global mining. Regulators, investors, communities, they're all pushing for change, and ATA sits right in the middle of that conversation. ATA is exactly the kind of platform that we can scale globally over time, ending the use of wet storage, providing safe, essentially dry storage, and enhancing the miner's capability to recycle his water. Next slide, please, Pete. We review our investment in the development of pneumatic graphene membranes as providing our shareholders with long exposure to a long-term upside. Independent laboratory testing has demonstrated strong performance of graphene membranes across drinking water, wastewater reuse, and PFAS removal. And these claims are being supported by peer-reviewed publications. PFAS in particular is becoming a global regulatory priority. But we're being very deliberate here. We're focusing on globally significant applications and with the right partners. We wish to build something that's durable rather than rushing to market at the moment. Next slide, please, Pete. I think this slide's quite important for the future of our company. So digitization is where engineering businesses start to change their shape. Right now, we're developing digital twins, AI-assisted optimization tools, and remote monitoring capabilities that capture the intelligence that we're embedding in every single plant that we design and deliver. Over time, this will allow us to scale knowledge globally, improve performance, and support multiple assets on a common platform. This is really how scalable infrastructure companies are being built today. Next one, Pete. So, looking ahead, our focus remains on disciplined execution. This means progressing commissioning activities, advancing projects towards execution where commercial agreements are in place, continuing lithium piloting, expanding our digital capabilities. And we're really especially excited about the System Scandium project as it moves towards a financial decision. But let me finish with this. We're operating in some of the most active and important parts of the global infrastructure landscape. We've moved into execution, but in many ways, we're still at the beginning of our journey. This team has built globally relevant platforms before. At CleanTech, we believe we're laying the foundations to do it again. So I hope this gives you a little bit of an insight into where we are and where we want to go. And so thank you for your time today, and I'm very happy to take your questions. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Peter. It really shows the last quarter and the strategy that you've outlined here that this is really an emerging powerhouse in the space. And I wonder, has the market woken up yet as to the capabilities that CleanTech has to enhance their flow sheets? Is there a process that you have to promote the company via those engineering firms that deal with these types of projects? And notably, they are all upper tier projects as well.
Yeah, I think, Pete, one of the things that we've been really focused on over the last couple of years is that we need to have our plants on the ground. We need to have them being demonstrated. Otherwise, it's always the show me problem when you're talking to the majors. And so having these projects now on the ground operating in these various areas with respect to both the water and in critical metals, we've now got reference sites. And with those reference sites and have those reference sites operating correctly, operating well, we've now got an ability to show our wares. So we're now, like as I said, we're really at the start of the journey. We've now got something to say about many of these real areas where the world's crying out for answers. If I go back to our days back when we were actually CleanTech, then Sunrise Energy Metals, then back to CleanTech Water, that journey has shown that if right technology combined with right assets is exceptionally valuable. The journey may take a little while, but that journey is really worthwhile going on. So I think from my perspective, we've been seen as an EPC company. We're doing smaller projects, but our vision is clearly on the bigger prizes as we move forward.
I have a question on one of those bigger prizes and bigger partners. Can you provide some detail on the difference and benefits of CleanTech's DLE over Rio's DLE and why Rio felt that CleanTech's tech was needed?
Okay, I think we have to be very careful here about making the differentiation. What we're doing at Rincon in Argentina is not DLE. We're not doing direct lithium extraction. The direct lithium extraction being used there is the conventional approach that's been around for many years. So they're using a different sorbent and they're using fixed beds to do that DLE extraction. So that was probably put in place probably 4 or 5 years ago for our engineering studies. And we weren't active in the lithium space at that time. But downstream processing is where we are. So the DLE produces a concentrate. We're now using our moving bed ion exchange to remove the impurities from that concentrate prior to its conversion to lithium carbonate, battery grade lithium carbonate. So I think that's an important distinction to make.
Yep. And Peter, in the flow sheet where CleanTech, where CleanTech's part of that flow sheet is enabled, are you able to come in after a facility has already been built and is operating, or do you need to be part of the initial planning?
Look, it depends. If we're talking about the two different areas, in the water, we can always come in afterwards. Okay, that's because we're normally dealing with a problem that has to be solved there, and we're a little bit outside the what we call the value flow sheet. When you're dealing with the actual metals, it's much better for us to be in the original flow sheet. We make quite a big difference to many of these flow sheets in terms of upgrade of the value that they are chasing, be that rare earths, uranium, copper, lithium. By putting our process in early in the process, you get a quick upgrade of your material. And then where you're using chemistry and water, that tends then to make that part of the process, the refining process, much smaller. And so your overall cost structures and your overall environmental impact becomes much more both economic and less burdensome. So that's what we're trying to we're promoting. We're promoting this idea of whole of shall we say process approaches, and I think that people are now starting to realise what the advantages are we can bring to their processes.
And Peter, strikes me as we go through this list here that clean tech fits in as part of an engineering process, but you're almost a technology company with comparably low capital expenditure to be part of the project, but also low operating costs as well. So it would be quite a high margin business. Would that be fair to say?
At the moment, remember, people are acting as an EPC supplier. So yes, we have technology embedded, which improves our margins somewhat, that's for sure. But projects where you are the deliverer, as we are, they're generally a time-based type approach. And time is always can be a destroyer of value or not. So you've got to be really careful in how you deliver projects. Over the past 2 years, we've done a really good job at getting our delivery times down, and therefore the value of money becomes much more, shall we say, relevant to how we operate. But the part that we really want to move to is we really want to move into the world of the digital age, where we can leverage this IP that we have within this company. We can leverage it to a much greater extent than what we're doing at the moment. We don't really want to be the deliverer of 30 projects at once globally. That would be just that's not our game. But we certainly want to deliver behind that the IP, and we certainly want to be there to be able to work with the data and help our clients improve the way the processes work. So that's where we want to take clean tech to over the next year or two, as we move into what I call the digital age of engineering.
All right, we're going to move on to a question here that's come through this morning. Can you talk to the partnership, the Future Element joint venture, working on BHP-related tailings technology trial work?
No, that's quite a long time ago now. So that partnership has been dormant, to tell you the honest truth, over the past year or two. Whether that has a rebirth is yet to be seen, but certainly we're pushing ourselves really hard in the ATA area. Hopefully there'll be some information that we can come out of that also in the next couple of months with respect to the commercial outcomes that we're looking to get. So we want to move this out of its, shall we say, piloting and demonstration phases into commercial reality. Again, I think over the next couple of months we can be more, I guess, more information around that area.
And following that, can you talk about the DLE trial progressing in the Middle East?
I can talk about it at a high level. That we are the DLE that we're using. It's going quite well. We're doing it on very many different sources, and we're seeing really good recoveries. Probably over the next, again, I guess, couple of months, I think we can be more open about what is actually happening there.
And you did cover in one of the points in the final chart, but the question's on Neerstar in Belgium. Is there any news that you can talk about progression towards a commercial operating plant?
The news is that we're around the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's and we're well down the track of that shall we say negotiation at the moment.
And I think that's a good example, Peter. That last slide shows quite a number of projects at various stages of progress and discussion. So the company certainly has a full deck, which is great to see as a shareholder. Question here on the pipeline chart of your presentation, it shows phosphate removal. Which company does this relate to?
The phosphate removal. I think I can't put names to those companies yet. We're under NDAs around that particular one. Sorry.
All right. But it's progressing and something that shareholders can look forward to learning about in the future. So in fact, that's a good point. I'll just make sure that people keep abreast of news by subscribing to the LinkedIn channel and also to the news channel on the CleanTech website. Another question, can you make some further comments on the December announcement on CleanTech Water begins purification program for critical minerals?
I think that's probably a generic line, I think, there, Pete. So I'd have to talk about it against a particular project for it to be relevant.
Yes, I understand. Let me see. They're coming in now thick and fast. Any comments on relationships with the resin suppliers, given that one of CleanTech's unique advantages over some competitors is that you're agnostic regarding resins?
Look, yeah, that's kind of a good question, because in this world of geopolitics nowadays that we have to deal with, it's really important that you've got several resin suppliers that you can draw on. And so we're always in conversations, both in Europe, China, US, with the resin suppliers around, what their capabilities are, and to ensure that they have a product that suits our particular MBIX approach, because we're not generic in that. They have to have particular properties around those resins for them to be able to work in our system. But all the resin suppliers know us. All the resin suppliers are happy to work with us. So that's the good point. I think they all see that the world is changing, and that while MBIX was not something that people were interested in 20 years ago, today it's becoming exceptionally important with respect to the grades being lower, water being more important, chemistry being important, and environment important. They're the sort of things that MBIX addresses for our particular customers.
Thanks, Peter. And the last question I have here is, what happened with the pilot in Canada with Go-To Lithium?
It's sitting in the Middle East.
It's sitting in the Middle East. There you go. All right.
So.
So a pretty good comprehensive coverage of the milestones achieved over 2025, and especially the last quarter, which was the last half was a busy period of time, and some great news flow coming through. Capital raise, the company's in a good position. What are your main focuses now for the next 3 months that we can look forward to hearing about?
Very simply, we've got quite a lot in the pipeline. Deliver it well, keep our customers satisfied, and keep that pipeline full. In other words, get the pipeline so that we can level out our lumpiness that's always associated with project-based companies. Get our ATA projects going, because in ATA, you've got annuity income streams that come along with the delivery of the polymers that are required for ATA. So that also will help, shall we say, smooth out the lumpiness in revenue. And I think the digitization side is also really important. But 3 months, it's still about projects. So I think that's probably my major aim. Have satisfied customers.
Yeah, that's good to have satisfied customers who keep coming back. It's easier to keep a customer than to find a new one. I also know that you were pretty busy the last half, but I know that our focus will be trying to get CleanTech in front of more institutional investors as well, to illustrate the investment opportunity that you have with this company. So I know that there'll be much more meetings, and we'll be going on the road and some conferences as well. How do you see that over the next couple of months?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think to ramp up to get ourselves in the marketplace, people see us, they understand us, they know who we are. That's the time is happening, and we're going to be much more active in this area over the next 6 months, with your help, by the way. So make sure that everyone understands. If you see Peter Taylor, ask him about CleanTech.
Thanks very much. I know we'll be working very hard to get the story out there, which has really evolved in the last over the last year with those foundations now to be a fantastic story. I look forward to taking it out to the marketplace and educating investors, both large and small, about the growth and the long story that this company represents. I once again encourage everybody to sign up to the LinkedIn site. There's some great information coming through there, both market related and industry and company related. So keep abreast of what your investment is doing. Keep an eye out for any roadshows and conferences that we're going to be involved with, and sign up for the news flow on the website as well. So you're on top of all the news that's coming through. If you have questions here today that weren't answered, or you have some others, please send them through to peter@nwrcommunications.com.au, and I'll see that Peter Voigt and his team gets hold of them. There's a lot going on here at this company, and we look forward to hearing more from Peter and his team in the near future. Peter, thank you for your time this morning, and thank you to everybody who joined us today, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.